Deal with finding parts by congruence. So given that triangle PQR is congruent to triangle VST, what is the value of x? Well, if these are congruent, what do we know? Well, we know that all the angles in this triangle are equal to each of the angles, the corresponding angles in this triangle. We also know that the sides in this triangle are equal to the corresponding sides of this triangle. So notice PR should be congruent to VT. They are corresponding parts of those triangles. So what equation can we set up to solve for x? Well, if these are congruent triangles, those two should be the same length or equal. So we know that 24 should equal 4x minus 8, and we solve from there. Add 8 to both sides. That gives me 4x equals 32. And divide both sides by 4, and I get that x is 8. Now, is that what they wanted? Yep, all they wanted was the value of x. I don't have to substitute it back in. So my solution here would be x equals 8. Okay, again, here's an example of finding parts by congruence, and again, we know anytime two triangles are congruent, their corresponding parts are also equal. This asks what's the value of x, and I have two congruent triangles here, which tells me again that corresponding sides, so this whatever AB is here should be the same as BC. Those are corresponding parts, so that tells me AB is 18. They didn't ask for that, but I could figure that out if they wanted. It also tells me that the angles are congruent, so this angle and this angle are congruent. This angle here would be congruent to this angle here, okay? And this angle here would be congruent to this angle here. Now be really careful with this, because you might be tempted to just look at the figure and say either 3x plus 9 equals 18, which is not the case, because this is an angle, okay, and this is a side. They can't be, they're two not equal, okay? Or you may be tempted to say 3x plus 9 equals x plus 12. But notice they are not corresponding parts. Okay, the 3x plus 9 is this right angle, and the x plus 12 is this pointy one. So this angle would be x plus 12, should be the same as x plus 12, but not this one. So this one's a little bit more tricky. What they want us to notice here is that this is a right angle, which means it's 90 degrees. So this would also be a right angle and 90 degrees. So the equation I'm actually going to use to solve this is that this angle, labeled 3x plus 9, should equal 90. And I solve that equation. I would subtract 9 from both sides. That gives me 3x equals 81. And then I would divide both sides by 3. Okay, that should give me my solution of x equals 27. Always double check and see if you were supposed to substitute that back in. It just wanted the value of x, and that's what I found, so I know I'm done. Right here again, we have two congruent triangles. It says PQR is congruent to triangle VST. What's the value of x? So we only have two pieces labeled here. Here's angle Q is 110 degrees. Angle S is 4x minus 8. Notice they are corresponding parts, and since the two triangles are congruent, that also means these two corresponding angles are congruent. So I know that 110 should equal 4x minus 8, again, because those two angles should be congruent. I want to solve this. I need to get x by itself, so I need to remove this minus 8 by doing the opposite of subtracting 8, which would be to add 8. That gives me 4x equals 118. 4 times x, I do the opposite and divide both sides by 4. Okay, and I get a decimal answer this time. Here we got 29.5. Okay, Always double check and make sure that's what they actually wanted was just x, and that we don't need to substitute it back in to find a specific part. But that is all they wanted, was the value of x, and the value of x was 29.5.